Hey everyone, and welcome back to Open. Our last guest is a multidisciplinary performing artist, and their accomplishments include participating at the Chicago's National Poetry Slam, NYC Pride, and being featured in National Geographic's. Their work covers topics of Indigenous identity, environmental issues, LGBTQ plus discrimination, and liberation on all fronts. And here now to share more is multidisciplinary performing artist Bobby Sanchez. Hello and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Looking all nice and bright. Okay, I think you got the memo because everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, you got yellow on." I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna squeeze out the rest of the summer
Yes, for real.
that we can, even though we're in the end of September."
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about this hat before we go further because it is so fabulous that we have to talk about it.
Appreciate it. So this hat is from Peru. My dad's Peruvian, and some of his ancestry. There's like cowboys and stuff. So they have farms and they grow food and ride horses and stuff. So I just wanted to rock this to, show that off. And the symbol is a chacana, a spiritual symbol to my Quechua people.
To your what?
My Quechua people.
Your Quechua people, right? So you actually incorporate your indigenous identity in a lot of your work. And yet you mentioned that they're cowboys over there, right? So let's just demystify the difference between cowboys and indigenous people in, let's say, South America, Central America.
Well, a lot of people, they think there's like, cowboys, and they used to say Indians, which is not the proper term to use anymore, but there's a lot of cowboys in South America, Central America, in the Southwest that are farmers and still practice that lifestyle and traditions until today. So
that are Native Americans. No.
Yes.
Or natives, we should say, right? Because if they're from over there.
Yeah, no, Native South American, Native Central American, Native North American for sure.
So when did it become your mission to educate people through your music, through your messaging?
Well, I started listening to hip hop like when I was young, and started listening to slam poetry when I was in high school, and I feel like that kind of art form empowered me to kind of see how I could use art to educate people on issues that may not be spoken about through poetry or through like music. So when I heard a Nina Simone interview when I was young, she was basically saying like that art should be a reflection of society. So I thought that was a very selfless thing to say, because a lot of art does revolve around yourself or what goes on in your life. But I think you can reach a higher audience when you speak about issues that you may feel connected to, not just individually.
Right, right. And not only that, you leave things better than you found them by leaving them with food for thought, right?
Exactly.
And then there's this self-expression that you carry that is, I want to say, captivating. We'll start there.
Thank you.
But when did you become fully self-expressed in the way that you're able to carry yourself, identify yourself, and again, just you have this juxtaposed way that I just find so fascinating.
Thank you. Well, I would say that I started, dressing how I want to dress maybe like around 18 after I graduated high school. And, I think that like learning about non-binary and what the trans identity means, what the two-spirit identity means, it kind of made me feel like, oh, okay, I feel connected to these identities. So like, why not express myself through fashion, So I've kind of been like a shyer person in my childhood. I was kind of quiet and I was always kind of listening. So like one way I like to express myself is through fashion because, you can kind of like speak without speaking.
So we have to revisit some of the terms you just used, right? Because you said non-binary, and then you said two-spirited. Let's talk about the two-spirited.
Well, two-spirit is an identity that the indigenous community has come up with over the past 30 years to kind of describe people who are in the LGBT community, I guess, but haven't felt seen. And many of our native communities, including in Peru, where my father's from, they recognized more than one gender before 1492. So like a lot of our identities are sacred and ancient, and it's not this new identity. So I think two-spirit is a good term to describe for just the indigenous community that feels like maybe not attached to being a man or a woman. So it's more like an identity created for our community so we can feel seen.
It's beautiful. That's why I wanted to elaborate on it, right?
Thank
And I
you,
said
thank
it wrong. I said two-spirited, but it's two-spirit.
Yes.
Right, and it also loans there's something really welcoming about it. There's something really serene about it, and just embracing that. We're more than this physical form that we come in, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so, were you raised to just be who you want to be?
I would say that it was a process, like growing up, I think having being surrounded by going to indigenous events like as young as 4 or 5 years old, I would see sometimes people that would identify as two-spirit like at local events, and I felt like like I feel a type of connection to that. And ever since I was young, I don't know, for some reason people kind of saw me as more androgynous. So I was, you know sometimes I confused people, like even when I was young, like as a child, because they didn't know if are you a boy or a girl, So like it's something that's been a process throughout my life. But I think, you know, realizing it over the last maybe 5 to 6 years, that I've been more comfortable in expressing myself.
Yeah, and you seem very clear, I might add, because you identify as she and they, right? But
Yes.
yet you sing in this masculine voice.
Well, I think masculine and feminine, like they're terms that I guess are associated with being a man or a woman, but it's really like we're just tapping into different frequencies. So, I'm not necessarily going to conform, you know, by acting maybe the way someone should think they perceive me,
Right.
I guess. So like, I guess I'm just being myself.
No, we love that. That's why
Thank
you're
you.
here on Open, because that's what we encourage
Thank
is
you, thank you.
just being open,
Appreciate
right?
it.
And at the end of the day, we're all human beings looking for the same thing, and that's that we all want to matter and we all want to be loved,
Yep.
right?
hmm
And so, what are you going to be presenting for us today?
Well, I'll be doing one song. It's called Quechua 101, Land Back Please. And I wrote it about 4 years ago after my grandma passed away. So she was like a fluent Quechua speaker. So after she passed away, I'm not a fluent speaker, but she did teach me a little bit, and I've learned a little bit since she's passed and from other family members. So it was kind of like the first poem that I wrote, I guess, like in the native language.
Oh, nice.
So, it's a journey for reconnection and reclaiming the culture that like I grew up with, but also like felt like a little far from, because, it is the mountains of Peru that I'm talking about. So, because I grew up in the New York area, like I feel like a little disconnected from my culture. So I'm reconnecting to it through poetry.
Were you sent there, growing up? Like, were you, I mean, I'm Puerto Rican, so they used to send me there one way and be like, you're going to learn Spanish, girl.
I've been there 3 times. Not as much as I'd like to, but, I'll take those 3 trips as blessings.
That's beautiful. So you speak 3 languages?
I speak a little Spanish and a little Quechua. I wouldn't say I'm fluent in either, but, that's a goal of mine, is to become more fluent in it.
But it starts with the consciousness, right?
Yep.
And the fact that you put it on paper. And you're also going to present it here on air.
Yes.
So there you go. Here's to reclaiming our ancestry.
Thank you. Yes, for sure.
Thank you for bringing it here.
Hey, my pleasure.
Oh my gosh, you guys. I hope you're excited as I am. Because when we return, Bobby Sanchez is going to perform for us after the break. And you certainly don't want to miss that. Hey everyone, and welcome back here now to perform Quechua 101. Let's give it up for Bobby Sanchez.
Check. Wari, Chanka, Moche, Nazca, Pacha, Mama, Quechua, Aymara, Imaynayam, Sumak, Sumakta, Aya, Kuchana, Viru, Wanta, Titi, Kaha, Uru, Bamba, Quinoa, Takna, Kaha, Maika, Ata, Walpa, Waina, Kapak, Mama, Okyo, Kapak. Sumakta kausa kusun haspaya mama ita puding kinchu kapak raimi pusak sutay ka benilda Luis Rojas wakpim pachapoyu kachkan inti mamakia imaynayam iskay waranka iskay chunka winyanay kipak sunku chukcha Wakpim pachapoyu kachkan inti mamakia imaynayam iskay waranka iskay chunka winyanay kipak sunku chucha rimang kichu manachu quechua harawik niawik kimsa kashkani rakmi wari taytay sutay ka inka chuki chinchay please don't ask me for a translation cause I'm only repping first nation. Please don't talk to me about decolonization. Still speaking in the colonizer's language. See you genocide us, then you colonize us. See you sterilize us, and now you fetishize us. See you stigmatize us, and then homogenize us. Trying to co-opt the movement and gentrify us. I say no. Land back, please. Stolen land under siege. Land back, land back, land back, please. Stolen land under siege. Thank you. Much love. Yusuf Aiki. Hus.
Wow. Yeah, we left them with food for thought. Thank you. Oh my gosh, Bobby Sanchez, everyone. That was Quechua 101. Yes, mi gente. Anyway, you can check out Bobby on Instagram at Bobby Sanchez Music. That was a little taste for you. Make sure you check her out. And once again, that is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to our viewers for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out this episode throughout the weekend and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rena Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month, mi gente.